One of the biggest challenges would be having this conversation with my parents.
Namaste everyone, welcome back to another episode of Art of Educating.
My TED Talks topic for last year was moving with, not moving on. Well, that's a very interesting question to ask. TEDx is a platform which takes you from a local stage to a global audience.
What were the challenges that you faced while preparing your TED Talk?
I'm talking about some things way bigger, family issues, financial issues.
Namaste everyone, welcome back to another episode of Art of Educating. Today I have by my side Miss Ananya, and she delivered a really nice TED Talk last year. So Ananya, I would like to ask you that what was your TED Talk about and how did you get the idea about delivering that TED Talk? What was that thing that fueled you for that topic?
Namaste Chanakya, thank you for having me here. My TED Talks topic for last year was moving with, not moving on. So yeah, let that digest. Moving with, not moving on. Going forward with your second question, which was how did I decide to take up that topic, right? As you see in the name in itself, a lot of people of my generation think of it as whenever something bad happens in our life, what we've been taught is move on. It's fine. Whatever happens, happens. Let it just be, let it be in the past and just move ahead. Why? Because in our age group now, we need to prioritize our studies, our future career, whatever comes ahead. So no matter how we decide to move on with what's happening, these emotions that we have remain in us. And that is what I wanted to stress upon in my TED Talk, that you cannot just move on. You need to move with what has happened and take whatever has happened in a positive manner so that the rest of your life can be acted out positively.
So Ananya, what were a few real life instances that actually inspired you to deliver this TED Talk?
So there were quite a few, and the beauty of this TED Talk is it is not only my life. I've seen a lot of people give TED Talks about a variety of topics. That was actually one of the few things that Sunshine made us do before we were prepared with our own TED Talk, which is we needed to look at a few TED Talks, understand how to speak, how to control our body language, and then we were allowed to go ahead with our TED Talk. It wasn't just real life instances in my life, which would be me shifting between states, a lot of family issues, financial instability, but these little problems are something that are visible in a variety of families. The main reason for this TED Talk was for me to say that this is common in all different families. So when you say what are the little things that have happened in my life, there are a variety of things that happen in everyone's life. And all of these little things should be accounted for because they account in our own personality.
I definitely agree with you, Ananya. And in fact, even I do feel that, after all, moving on is somewhat a universal truth, let's say. So, my another question to you, what were the challenges that you faced while preparing your TED Talk?
Well, that's a very interesting question to ask. One of the biggest challenges would be having this conversation with my parents. Because obviously a TED Talk is a very big milestone, It's reaching out to people on such a wide audience, having an influence in other people's thoughts. So me just standing there going, you know what, it's a wrong concept. You can't move on from this, because I think our parents are the first ones who say it. Like we say any kind of small thing, I didn't win this trophy, I didn't get an A grade on this assessment, and the first thing that parents say, it's fine. You have the next one upcoming, why don't you just do better there? That is not possible, because, it is possible, but moving on from these little things which mean so much to us, and this is just a small scale. I'm talking about some things way bigger, family issues, financial issues, stress that we feel to be good enough for our parents. These little things should be addressed. So one of the biggest problems I faced was sitting there in front of my mom and telling her, you know what, this is wrong. But thankfully, you might be surprised, she was actually so awestruck about how I responded to that. She said, yes, because I've seen it. As you've grown, all these little actions have had some kind of an effect on you. And she was actually glad to see that I'm someone who's ready to talk about it on face and address it, because that means I'm willing to be looked down upon, that she's crazy, just to create some kind of positive change in one or two people's life.
Ananya, my final question to you. What's that message that you would like to give to the future young TEDx speakers?
I'd like to say speak your heart out, because TEDx is a platform which takes you from a local stage to a global audience. So if you have that chance to influence someone who might be anywhere in this world and who might be listening to your voice, seeing your video, speak your heart out and put forward any idea that you have which could end up influencing a person's life in a positive manner. Because you never know, even you don't need to live a grand luxurious life, but even the small idea that you have. For instance, in my case, my only thought was, you cannot just put all the negatives aside and carry on in life, because they have some unsaid burden on us which we end up enacting out. So instead, why don't we just accept it and address it there, that yes, this has happened, but I also need to move ahead in life. This thought was the only thought that made me actually go ahead and speak up on this platform. But now that I see the views, now that I see the comments, I know it has made a difference to someone else's life. So I'd like to say that anyone who has an idea, anyone who has a thought that they'd like to put forward, please go ahead, don't be shy, just go ahead, practice in front of a mirror if you have stage fright. I know I dealt with it, but practice 200, 2000 times and go ahead and deliver your message, because if you have the chance to impact someone, make sure that you take it.
Alright, with that, your insights were truly invaluable, Ananya. And thank you so much for being here with us. It was a really lovely session with you, and I really enjoyed it.
Thank you for having me here.